Hey everyone, welcome back to the Courage Edition podcast. And today we're talking about the real way to overcome bullying. Hey, I'm Kimberly Conicella, massive anti-bullying advocate and mother to two beautiful kids, a qualified education and communications expert who went from being bullied, dealing with the trauma of it, into teaching kids how to deal with conflict. Now I'm obsessed with helping other parents to do the same with my business that's changed lives of hundreds of kids worldwide, the Courage Edition. Each week, I'll be releasing episodes that give you simple, actionable, and practical advice so that you can decode and explore the multiple different pieces of the puzzle for overcoming bullying and conflict so that you can feel relieved and your child can feel empowered and strong, because a child shouldn't have to be worrying about being picked on or dealing with hurtful bullying. So if you're a courageous parent like me, yet feel totally helpless in supporting your child through bullying and friendship conflicts, you're in the right place. Let's get started. There's a lot of talk out there that focuses on teaching kids self-defense as a way to overcome bullying. And while this has a place, I guarantee that a child facing conflict in their group or someone they believe to be a friend, they're not really going to walk up to them and punch them, right? If that's what you're teaching your child, there's going to be consequences for this type of lashing out. So if you're a parent that's currently faced with your child being bullied by either someone that's not in their friendship circle, or even if they're faced with ongoing conflict within their friendship circle, and you're out of ideas on how you can manage this, I've got you covered, my friend, because let's face it, kids that won't stand up for themselves, that are more sensitive than others. And I say sensitive, not in a negative way. I'm sensitive and I truly believe that it is a strength. But if your child is sensitive or more reserved or quiet, they aren't the type of kid that's going to use violence against another person to get them to stop being nasty. They're more than likely going to withdraw, cry, or go and sit by themselves rather than try punching someone in the face. So with this in mind, how do we help? What do we do as parents? I know that you're probably thinking that you'd like to go and do something that is probably going to get you in trouble. Trust me, when Avery, my 8-year-old, was faced with bullying, my first thought was to write the most scathing email I could to the school, followed by tracking down the parents of the bully and letting them know what I thought. And just for the record, I didn't do that, even though I really wanted to, but I thought it. So I can imagine that you're probably thinking something similar, or maybe you've even done something similar to this. And that's okay, because a protective parent is better than a parent that doesn't care at all, right? So there's something that I really want you to unpack here. If your child's going through it, here's the thing. They are being targeted for a reason. And that probably hurts to hear, but you probably knew this already as well. But I really want to bring this to your attention because the best way, the most effective way to beat bullying, to deal with ongoing nasty conflict within friendship groups is to build up their inner strength. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, and I want to circle back to talk about why your child might be targeted, but I really need to explain this here because I can imagine that you're thinking, well, duh, of course they've got no inner strength. They can't even stand up for themselves. Am I right? Well, this is exactly it. They can't stand up for themselves because they have no inner strength. So I want you to think about this for a second, just for a minute. If your child had inner strength, right? Like if they could say that's enough to someone bullying them, if they could walk away from someone saying nasty things to them or calling them names without feeling hurt or upset, or even angry, if they could say no to someone pressuring them to fit into the group, if they could even just shrug off the behavior of someone being nasty or someone trying to exclude them, if these behaviors, even though they're hurtful and nasty and not okay, but if your child could move away from or not even be bothered by that behavior, that would take incredible inner strength, right? I can tell you right now that if your child was able to do any of those things, the person who was being nasty, doing the bullying, would be bored out of their mind. Because without the reactions, without the low self-esteem, trying to control someone or take away power from someone who has inner strength. It's just too much work for someone who wants a quick way to feel in control and empowered. So while learning self-defense is one way to help with bullying, a child who has no inner strength but knows self-defense isn't going to use it. So what's the point of teaching self-defense when there's no inner strength? We have to focus on the core issue here, which is that your child needs help building up their inner strength. Forget the bully for a moment, because we can't control anything outside of us. And you as the parent certainly can't control the bully or the school or the bully's parents. But where you can make a huge impact, a huge change, is in your child. It's all about the circle of control here. I could do a whole episode on the circle of control, and I definitely have some episodes in the works for parents who have kids that do bully and how to transform someone who is bullying. But right now, you need to be focusing on how to build inner strength in your child to help them with these conflicts. Okay, I need to pause for a second, because this is exactly why I created Bully Proof Academy. If you're listening to this and thinking, yes, I know my child needs inner strength, but how do I actually help them build it? You're not alone. This is what I hear from so many parents, and it's exactly what Bully Proof Academy is. Inside the program, I guide you through my courage method, a framework that focuses on building your child's inner strength, teaching them practical strategies to handle conflict, and helping you as a parent provide the emotional support they need. You'll get access to a growing library of over 15 strategies to tackle bullying and conflict, live coaching sessions with me, and tools like the ones I've mentioned today, the Inner Line and Courage Cups, broken down into step-by-step lessons. Plus, when you join Bully Proof Academy, you'll get my Bully Proof Your Kid course as a bonus. It's like a 2-for-1 deal to supercharge your support system. So if you're ready to stop feeling stuck and start empowering your child, head to thecourageedition.com or DM me the word Academy on Instagram at The Courage Edition, and I'll send you all the details. Or simply click the link in the show notes. All right, let's get back to building up that inner strength for your child. So circling back to why your child may be a target of bullying, I want to give you some quick tools to help you plant some seeds, so to speak, in your child so that their inner strength starts to grow. And I use these tools with my one-to-one clients and also inside Bully Proof Academy and Bully Proof Your Kid course, because they're so powerful and so transformative. So the first thing you can do with your child is start to really break down these bullying behaviors. Why do we want to do this? Because a child that understands that someone is projecting their own issues or insecurities onto them is a child whose self-esteem is not going to be rattled by them. It helps your child because it removes the energy in the charged up words and actions of the bully and allows your child to see through them into what's actually going on for that person. Let me give you an example here. I was working with a primary school age girl and her mother, and this girl was really struggling with a friend in their friendship group who was being nasty to her constantly. When we looked at this issue on a surface level, it was very black and white. So the girl I was working with was feeling constantly upset and angry and hurt by this girl and was really starting to believe that she was the issue, that she was a nasty person, because she was always battling this bullying, and the girl bullying was always acting like the victim. She'd started to be excluded from the group and her self-worth was pretty low. So I started asking her questions about her interests and what she was good at, and also what the rest of her friends were like. It turned out that the girl I was coaching was very good at netball. So good at netball that she'd been accepted into the rep team in her area. The girl bullying her had also tried out for the rep team and was unsuccessful. And this pattern emerged where together we noticed that the girl I was coaching was doing quite well in school and in sports, and the girl that was bullying her appeared to always be coming in second. So for anyone out there that's continuously come in second, not that everything should be made a competition, but when you come in second all the time, you can imagine there's probably some frustration, some anger, or even resentment that might come out. And that's exactly what was happening. While I wasn't working with the girl that had these insecurities and was lashing out, having that understanding of why she was behaving that way gave my client, this 9-year-old little girl, some clarity and awareness around what was going on. This immediately stopped any words or actions that this bully was doing from having any power to hurt, because my client knew that these words were charged by insecure energy. So breaking down and helping your child understand why they might be targeted can have an empowering impact. And it can stop the bullying from becoming your child's own beliefs about themselves, and it can empower their inner strength. The second thing that you can do is a little more complex, but it's super handy. If your child is struggling with inner strength, this is where I would actually start. So essentially what you want to do is separate your child from their inner strength. What do I mean by that? Well, have you ever told your child what to do or say when someone's being mean to them? So let's say your child comes home from school and says, I'm being bullied, or so-and-so was mean to me today. And your response is, tomorrow, make sure you go in there and tell them that if they're ever mean to you again, blah, 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 whatever the response is. Have you ever done that and then your child kind of grumbles or says, okay, just to get the conversation to stop? Well, two things have happened here. One, your child has decided that they don't like your reaction and has decided to end the conversation or withdraw so that you stop reacting. And by the way, I'm going to talk about reactions in another episode. But two, they don't have the courage in them to say or do what you've told them to say or do. So in other words, they don't have the inner strength. Instead of approaching it this way, which doesn't work, by the way, if we separate your child from their inner strength, then we can talk to their inner strength instead of them. Sounds complex, I know, but let me break it down a little bit further for you. I use what's called an inner lion. So basically every child and every person for that matter has an inner lion, and an inner lion needs to be fed. And we feed our inner lions courage. So each time your child feeds their inner lion courage, their inner lion gets stronger. So if you haven't picked up on it yet, their inner lion is actually their inner strength. And so each time your child does something courageous and possibly stands up for themselves, they're building their inner strength. I go into way more detail in my 2-week signature course, Bully Proof Your Kid, which I'll link in the show notes for you. But right now you might be asking how? How does your child feed their inner lion courage? A lion doesn't become big and strong after one meal, right? It takes a lot of meals for a lion to become big and strong. And this is the same for your child's inner lion. It takes several steps of courage to build up their inner lion. And it's done with things like breaking down bullying behaviors, which I mentioned earlier. But it also takes specific strategies that your child can use in the moment of bullying and conflict also. If the inner lion approach doesn't work for your child, which can sometimes happen, particularly with a child that is really lacking self-esteem, sometimes it can be really useful to have a visual prop to help them understand what's happening. And by the way, there's no harm. In fact, it's actually quite beneficial to explain to your child what bullying actually does to them. The old sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Gosh, how wrong that little song was. Words can and do hurt kids because these words can often become our child's beliefs. And those beliefs create patterns in our child's thinking that can lead to negative self-talk and a heap of other mental health issues down the track. Research is showing that bullying and relentless, nasty comments can trick our brain into believing them. And so teaching our kids to be aware of this is a really beneficial chat to be having with them. Back to the visual prop. I got off topic there. So if the inner lion is not working and is not something that your child can relate to, or you really want to cement in their brain the importance of building up their inner strength, I also use what's called the courage cups. So essentially, you get 2 clear cups, one filled with water. The one filled with water represents your child. And you explain to them that the water is courage. Each time the bully does or says something nasty, some of that courage gets poured into the bully's cup. After it's been happening for a while, your child suddenly realizes that there is no courage left in their cup and that they've given it all to the bully and that they have no inner strength left. But if your child started taking little steps to take back that courage and using the visual props here to pour back some of the water into your child's cup to represent the courage can be really helpful here. That way they're able to see that they're able to become courageous and strong again, little by little. So these specific strategies are all outlined in video lessons talking about how to implement each one inside Bullyproof Academy, which is my full program. And by the way, if you join Bullyproof Academy, you actually get my Bullyproof Your Kid 2-week signature course for free with that. So I'll link Bullyproof Academy in the show notes also. So these 2 tools, actually 3 tools, work really well together. They really start building up your child's inner strength, which they need in order to be able to handle bullying or any friendship conflicts that they're currently faced with. They actually need their inner strength to be intact so that they're able to build the life skills they need to face conflict in the future and not just right now. Because bullying isn't just an issue for our kids. It's something that we face in the workplace too. So the sooner your child has the ability to navigate these conflicts and build the boundaries and the mindset that they need to face this, the sooner they're going to be equipped to deal with whatever life throws at them. And I don't know about you, but as a parent, I really want that for my kids, to be able to handle conflict in a healthy way, not throw punches at anyone that looks at them the wrong way. Well, that's it from me for now. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the end. If you loved this episode, I'd really appreciate a review and a rating. And don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss any episodes. I'll see you next time here on the Courage Edition podcast.